Welcome to the big show, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. Welcome to another episode of the Hoops Boys podcast with your host with the most, James the Jet, and America's favorite bitch ass white boy, CProc. Brother, a lot of news swirling around the association the last few days, couple days, week.
Mm-hmm.
The Cavaliers. They brought in Karis LeVert as the beneficiary from Indiana, just looking to dump salary and take an injured Ricky Rubio off their hands. And they bring in Rajon Rondo, veteran point guard. So they are definitely gearing up for a playoff run, trying to get a scorer slasher off the bench and a veteran point guard to kind of steady the shift behind Garland. What do you think? Cavs making these moves and gonna be realistic?
I think the Cavs made some brilliant moves. I think they're playing really well this season. They're now in fourth place in the East, which is amazing from where they were last year. Darius Garland seems to be blossoming into a potential All-Star. They have a rookie in Evan Mobley that's, leaps and bounds. He doesn't look like a rookie. He looks like, he's been playing for a couple of years. And then they still have Colin Sexton, who hasn't played much this season, but I would like to see how they integrate him back into the lineup now that they have Rondo and Karis LeVert to take up guard minutes.
Darius Garland, actual All-Star, by the way, which we'll get into in a little bit.
For sure. Shout out to Darius.
But yeah, I'm also a big fan of what they just did. A lot of veteran pieces. It really gives you the vibe that they are serious about this playoff run. Speaking of Indiana, they dumped Karis LeVert. They just pulled off this big blockbuster with Sacramento. They give up Sabonis, former All-Star, huge player in his own right. Justin Holiday, solid role player. Jeremy Lamb, good shooter off the bench. They just dump all of them. And they get back from the Kings. They get the tabloid's favorite whipping boy, Tristan Thompson. They got a solid shooter, perimeter defender, and Buddy Hield. And a great young player in Tyrese Halliburton.
Yes.
So what do we think? What is with this Indiana fire sale, and did they actually come off with a real coup?
Yeah, that's I think that's yet to remain to be seen. Tyrese Halliburton is a really good player, and I'm surprised like the Kings decided to move on from him since he's been playing so well for them. But it's probably, Coach Rick Carlisle, he's coming into a situation with a team that he didn't build, with players that, maybe he doesn't, he'd rather a dominant guard or something. He'd rather a different kind of player to build around. So this is his opportunity now to clean the slate. I have a nice young piece in Tyrese Halliburton, and we're going to build it from here. I think it was a good move for the Pacers, but the Kings definitely, they came out clean on this one.
Right. And I think as far as them moving on from Halliburton, I don't necessarily know if it's like giving up on him, because there wasn't much to give up on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I should rephrase. There wasn't anything to give up on because he was a wonderful player. But I think it was just, as we've talked about in the past, them choosing a direction which to go. You had three really good guards with him.
Yeah.
Three really good young guards between Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox and Mitchell.
Davion Mitchell. Yeah,
yes,
Davion
Mitchell. Yes.
Yeah.
You got three really good young guards, all very good, all looking very competent on the floor. I mean, the one you could say probably looks the least polished is Fox, and he's the most explosive.
Yeah.
So, I think it was just a matter of them finally deciding which direction they're going to go and who to give up, because we just got too many cooks in the kitchen of the same type of position. But yeah, I agree that the Pacers probably were in that mindset you're alluding to, and they just needed to clear out all the old toys and give Carlisle something fresh to start with and build up from the dirt again.
Yeah. And I think Tyrese is definitely an amazing piece to have, building something new. I think the Kings like they made a good decision in picking De'Aaron Fox over Tyrese Halliburton. De'Aaron is he's a lot better than people think. I feel like the statistics sometimes don't show everything that he does on the court. But like you said, he's a very explosive guard. I like to see how this plays out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And mind you, now they have a big man.
Yes.
The bonus, a two-way big man that can really play off of someone like Fox, probably a lot better than Halliburton could.
And this leads me to ask, like, what happens with Marvin Bagley now? Because he was supposed to fulfill that role that they're bringing in Sabonis to fill, and Sabonis can do it worlds better than he can. So
another wasted Duke talent rotting at the end of the bench somewhere.
Right. So I don't know what they're gonna do with Marvin. It looks like he's just gonna be the player that he is. I hope that he gets better.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure Michael Jordan will give him a second round pick and a bag of basketballs for him. to rot at the end of Charlotte's bench.
Right.
He still be home.
That's true.
Speaking of fire sales, there's one going out. Despite the words coming out of their lack of a front office, there's another fire sale that we agree on the West Coast. What the hell is happening in Portland?
What is going on in Portland, man? They're sending mixed messages because on one hand, they're saying, yeah, we're committed to building a championship team around Damian Lillard. And then their recent actions, you're just like, huh?
Yeah, and let's recap those recent actions. They sent off Norman Powell. They sent off Robert Covington. For Eric Bledsoe,
Yes.
who hasn't been a useful NBA player in like 3 years, 4 years at least. And then they sent off CJ McCollum, who is obviously Dame's, B guy, best supporting type of player, and Larry Nance, solid young role player, and Tony Snell, who we like to kick around a little bit here, but decent perimeter defender still. For Josh Hart, whoop de freaking do. And a number one pick that they might not even get, in a couple second round picks, and like maybe an extra player that I don't even heard of. Like, what is that? Did you say you're rebuilding around Dave? Because it sure doesn't seem like it. You just set off at least 3 really solid players, maybe 4, and a 5th pretty half decent contributor. What are you building around him?
And to like everything valuable besides Nurkic and Dame is now gone. And you pretty much don't have anything that nobody would really want for you to get a player that can run with Dame. Like,
and Nurkic, who probably no one wants because he can't stay healthy.
That too. And I'm pretty sure he would have been gone too already if they could have traded him, but people don't trust him.
Probably the last 48 hours.
This is definitely alarming. I mean, like we spoke about offline, I really, like you said, I think this is just like smoke and mirrors. They're saying one thing, but they're actually doing the other.
Right. And I'll even go down the rabbit hole a bit further. Dame has up until this point created this really classy image of himself where committed to Portland, gonna stay here my whole career, gonna play it out, I'll win a championship or die trying, And I think based on what's going on, I think he must have, and he's only playing about 29 games this year. So he hasn't really been on the court a whole lot. I think that he must have gone to the front office, gone to Chauncey Billups, gone to whatever semblance of a general management hierarchy they have up there now. He must have told them, listen, I love you guys. I appreciate everything done for me. Talk to Paul Allen, spread his love, all that sort of junk. And told him, I'm leaving because this isn't working and I got to get a ring. I know I said I was going to stay, but it ain't putting it together. For better or for worse, it ain't putting it together. I think he must have told them, like, listen, instead of having this play out ugly, do what you got, and you trying to look desperate, trying to get rid of contracts because I leave. Get rid of the contracts now. Let me chill, and then just silently get rid of me on the back end. Like get rid of me last. Deal off
Mhm.
everybody now. Clear that money. Clear those players. Get them all out of town. And then ship Dame out at the very end and kind of quote unquote shocked. Oh, it's such a surprise they traded Dame Lillard. Well, was it? His
Mhm.
entire roster just got decimated. So, pardon my little tinfoil hat here, but I'm thinking Dame went to the front office, went to ownership, say, "Listen, clear the books, get everybody out of here, and then let me leave."
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that could work, but I think after like any like reasonable general manager would have saw that Norman Powell Rocco trade, and they would have been like, oh yeah, they're getting rid of Dan. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they would have seen that like they got what they got for him. Eric Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe.
Oh
What?
man.
I mean, the only other silver lining I could really piece out of that is they're just salary dumping because they're in the garbage. They're in the dumpster this year,
Yeah.
and they're just salary dumping right now, and they're going to do some Miami Heat nonsense. I'm sorry, the Heatles, as I recall them referencing themselves. They're going to pull some, taking my talents to South Beach up in the Pacific Northwest and just like clear all this salary and then just sign like two max, have enough money to
Yeah.
sign two max all-stars in the off season. That is the only silver lining I could piece together out of this. I still like my tinfoil hat theory better, but you know what? That's the
No, I like that.
If I'm gonna find the silver lining, that has to be it because I don't know what else to. I don't know how else to justify what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't get it, bro. Like that has to be what it is because if y'all gonna rebuild around Dame, y'all trade away everything and anything that could help you get a player that could help him. So
Or just help him, period, right now.
right. So it's very strange.
Happier times. Let's talk about our Knicks then. The mysterious man himself, Kevin Knox, is finally out of town.
I'm telling you, man.
And I mean, remains to be seen whether we'll regret it. And he'll be an all-star down in Atlanta, and we'll be kicking ourselves later on.
Kevin Knox has averaged 50 points this season. Every game.
He's a fat Will Chamberlain. And we bring in Cam Reddish, good defender,
Nice.
solid 3-point shooter, and Solomon Hill, good role player.
Yeah.
Haven't caught too much of the Knicks lately, unfortunately, but even so, I think those are two solid role players who have been contributors for the Hawks during a little recent run of success. And I think that was probably, outside of Kevin Knox turning into the next Kevin Durant, I think that was a solid haul we got.
Yeah, I think so too. I really like Cam Reddish. I think towards the end of last year, he was really coming on, and then he had gotten injured real quick. I think a little ankle injury or something like that, a little knee injury. And then he came back this season looking the same how he was last season, like even more like really attacking the game opposed to him playing like passive. And I really like that. I've been following a lot of Knicks games. I've been watching as many as I can, and Cam Reddish hasn't really gotten that many minutes. Coach Tibbs is really trying to stay firm on his rotation that he got going on, whether it works or not. And he's going to make Cam work for all his minutes. So, I mean, I like that kind of environment. Yeah,
makes you motivated, and
but let him play.
Yeah, and that's not something foreign to Tibbs. He does have rather strict rotations. The Tibbs is a big trust guy. And granted, that being said, the rotation pretty much was set because Kevin Knox certainly wasn't in it.
Sure.
Derrick Rose was hurt, so that was really the only empty spot. Which, thank the maker, quickly has been getting more minutes with Rose being out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why Tibbs ever needed any argument to get quickly more minutes, but hey, You know what? I mean, it's to an end, I guess.
Tibbs loves his guys, man.
He does. He does.
Taj Gibson and Derrick Rose are going to average 35 minutes on the Knicks because he loves them.
Playing until their knees fall apart.
Right.
and then quickly we'll be playing 5 positions. Quickly, if by some miracle of miracles we were to make the playoff, quickly it's gonna be guarding Giannis Antetokounmpo in the post.
Emmanuel switch me.
Emmanuel switch me, yes. And not switch in a pick and roll in a mismatch. Switch like, get me the hell off this guy.
Right.
Our final news topic. Not too long ago, we were very impressed by the Washington Wizards. They were in the playoff picture. They were even top 6 at one point, let alone in the play-in tournament. And now they've kind of fallen off back to what we expect the Washington Wizards to be, and they're shutting down Bradley Beal.
Yeah. Then he just played it. He just played the other night. Now he's not playing anymore because he has to get a season-ending surgery out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Out of nowhere. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're the Wizards, would you rather just tank the season, get the draft pick, or
yeah, absolutely.
At that point, you were in the playoffs. Like, your team couldn't have been that bad. Like, why?
Yeah, they were balling though, like last week.
Yeah. I mean, I get you got to build it up. I get you got to build it up again.
Yeah,
there wasn't much there. Obviously, they shipped Rusty out of town. I get you got to get more pieces. So, I mean, maybe Brad's playing the Dame card and he's committed to Washington, and he's like, all right, we're not doing anything this year. Let us just suck, get a good draft pick, and get another piece in here, and then I'll come back next year fully rested, fully healthy, and good to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough. I feel like players like Dame, Bradley Beal, like they're just in these parties with ball clubs, wasting away their primes, and they're really, really, really good players. So you would love to see them, and we've seen this before, right? With other players, like, damn, we would love to see these guys play on a team or play, playing for something. Like, yeah, I know we got a good chance of going to the finals this year. Like, I would love to see that for Dame. I would love to see that for a lot of these guys, but it's the NBA, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, kiddos, if you want to tell us we're geniuses or tell us we're crazy, get our DMs, hit us up on the mentions. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at HoopsBoysPod, and keep it right with us. We're gonna set you up for some all-star festivities next. Let's go. Podcast. Keep it with us.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Hoops Boys Pod. Once again, it's your host with the most, Jet, and my homeboy CProc. And you know what time of the year it is? It's February, which also means it's our favorite time of the year because it's the NBA's time to showcase its 24 best players in this year's All-Star game. And we're gonna have a little fun with this topic. Do it a little Michael Buffer style. So CProc, how are we going to start this? We're going to start this with let's start with the reserve. So,
yes, sir. Replacing the team captain, Kevin Durant of the East, averaging 29 points this season. The first reserve, playing in his first All-Star game from the Charlotte Hornets, the reigning Rookie of the Year, averaging 19.6 points, 7 rebounds, and 7.5 assists per game. LaMelo Ball.
And reserve for our second reserve is a 3-time All-Star, 2016 All-Rookie team. He plays for the Suns. He's averaging 25 points per game, 4 assists, and 5 rebounds. Devin Booker for 3.
For 3. Man with the plan down in South Beach. A 6-time All-Star and 4-time All-NBA selection. The 2015 most improved player, averaging just under 22 points, over 6 rebounds, and over 6 assists, representing the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler.
At guard, the international man of mystery, the 3-time All-Star, the 2-time All-NBA player, and the 2019 Kia Rookie of the Year, averaging 26 points per game, 9 assists, and 9 rebounds. None other than Luka Doncic for 3.
A guard playing on the surprise playoff contender Cleveland Cavaliers, making his first All-Star appearance, averaging just under 20 points per game and just over 8 assists, Darius Garland.
At the center position, another international man of mystery, also known as the Stifle Tower, averaging 16 points per game, an assist, and 15 rebounds. A 3-time All-Star, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 4-time All-NBA player, Rudy Gobert.
10-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA selection, averaging over 22 points, 8 rebounds, and over 10 assists per game. They call him the Beard from the Brooklyn Nets, James Harden.
At guard, playing for the San Antonio Spurs. This is his first All-Star appearance, averaging 19 points per game, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds. And also replacing the injured Draymond Green, Jelante Murray.
A 2-time All-Star out of the Windy City, averaging just under 25 points per game, just under 5 rebounds, and over 4 assists. The little man with the plan, the little man with the big plan, Zach LaVine.
At the other guard position, we have a superhero. The NBA pundits call him Spider because he swings from building to building. The 3-time All-Star, 2018 All-Rookie team, averaging 25 points per game, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds, Donovan Spider Mitchell. At guard, the point guard, 12-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA player, 2013 All-Star MVP, averaging 15 points per game, 10 assists, and 4.5 rebounds. None other than Uncle, what's his name? Uncle Cliff. The point guard, Chris Paul.
He may be Giannis's sidekick, but he is no B-list superstar. A 3-time All-Star, averaging just under 20 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. The backcourt master up in Milwaukee, Chris Middleton.
And last but not least, at center, number 32 for the Timberwolves, averaging 24 points per game, 4 assists, and 9 rebounds. The 3-time All-Star, 2016 Kia Rookie of the Year, and he was even dubbed an All-NBA player in 2018. Yeah, you got it right. You're talking about Big Cat Carl Anthony Towns. I don't even know how to do that inflection, but you get the gist.
Let's go north of the border, making his first All-Star appearance, averaging over 21 points per game and 7 assists per game, shooting a blistering percentage from 3-point land, Fred VanVleet.
Oh yeah, that's how you do it right there.
And now the starters.
Dun, dun, dun.
A 6-time All-Star, 2-time Most Valuable Player, and the reigning All-Star MVP, averaging just under 29 points per game, over 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. Your reigning Finals MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Starting for the West at guard, the babyface assassin, 8-time All-Star, 2-time MVP, 7-time All-NBA player, averaging 25 points per game, 6 assists and 5 rebounds. The chef, Stephen Curry, for 3.
5-time All-Star and 2-time All-NBA selection out of the Windy City, averaging over 26 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. My birthday buddy, DeMar DeRozan.
That was great. That was great. At the forward position, starting for the West All-Stars, the team captain, the ageless one, the king, 18-time All-Star, 3-time All-Star MVP, 4-time MVP, averaging 29 points per game, 6 assists, and almost 8 rebounds. LeBron James.
The man in the middle for the East, a 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA selection, averaging 29 points and just under 11 rebounds a game. The big man in the city of brotherly love, Joel Embiid.
The biggest magician this side of the Mason-Dixon, the Joker, 4-time All-Star, 2021 Kia MVP, 3-time All-NBA selection, averaging 25 points per game, 7 assists and 13 rebounds. Nikola Jokic.
Replacing injured captain Kevin Durant in the starting lineup. A 3-time All-Star and 2020 All-NBA selection, averaging just under 26 points per game and 8.5 rebounds. The Mean Town up in Beantown, Jason Tatum.
At guard, starting this first All-Star appearance in the 2020 Kia Rookie of the Year, averaging 26 points per game, 7 assists per game, and 6 rebounds per game. My favorite for MVP this year, playing for the Memphis Grizzlies, serving a barbecue chicken like they do out in Memphis. Ja Morant.
And the final starter for the East, a 2-time All-Star down in the hot ATL, averaging just under 28 points per game and over 9 assists per game. The Ice Tray himself.
Ice Tray gang.
Young.
And lastly, for the Western All-Stars, a newcomer. Some call him Maple Jordan. He's averaging 18 points per game, 2 assists per game, 4 rebounds per game. His, like I said, his first All-Star appearance. And he was also the 2015 Kia Rookie of the Year. Andrew Wiggity Wiggins. He was definitely a surprise.
That was a great lineup. And you know what? That transitioned us into talking about who got snubbed. And quite frankly, I can't pick a single player out of the league. I think the NBA actually got this one 110% right.
Yeah, man. I think the complaints that a lot of people had, they fixed with the injury reserves. So
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the two that people complain about? LaMelo Ball. Well, he's in and out. And Dejounte Murray. He's also in it.
which is he's also in it. So
So if I had to pick apart anything, I would say Miami Heat, best team in the East, deserves 2 All-Stars. But I also don't know who else would be there. Bam Adebayo has really been a big part of Miami surging to number 1 right now. But he hasn't played enough games to garner All-Star consideration. And Kyle Lowry is having a good year, but he's not by any stretch of the imagination having an all-star type of year. So if I were to pick something, and I'm really splitting hairs here, it would be Miami missing that second all-star. But I mean, I can't really get mad at anything. This is a great all-star roster. It really is.
Nah, definitely, most definitely is. Yeah, man, I think they finally got it right.
Yeah. Almost from jump. Let's have some fun and talk about the Saturday festivities. What do you want to do? The high flying showman or the sharpshooters from the corners, wings, dead on key?
Let's, one of my favorite contests in the whole All-Star is definitely the dunk contest, and it has been revived the last couple of years. So I'm excited to see it this time around. So let's talk about the dunk contest.
So we've got our boy, hometown hero, Obi Toppin from the
Obi.
Knicks. We have Cole Anthony, point guard slasher guard down in Orlando. We have rookie sensation Jalen Green. And the fourth one, I'm not going to lie, never heard of this kid. Juan Toscano Anderson from the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, that kid could play.
Wearing 95. What NBA player wears 95? Are you a guard? Are you a swing guard or a defensive tackle, my man?
Both of them.
I mean, are we gonna be surprised and this kid's gonna take it by storm, or is it gonna be one of these other kids? Because right now, if I had to hedge it, I'd go Jalen Green.
Yeah, I think my 2 picks for the finals of this contest is Jalen Green and Obi. I'm picking Obi to win. Just as you know, just as I feel you're probably going to pick Obi to win as well. But I think those are going to be the last 2 finalists. I would be highly surprised if Cole Anthony gets out of that first round. I haven't seen anything this year to make me feel like, oh, this kid's a super high flyer. But obviously he is because he's in this contest. But I got Obi winning.
I mean, obviously, I would love to see that, and he did compete last year, if I'm not mistaken. So he's got a year under his belt to figure out what kind of dunks, what kind of flashiness and skills are necessary to take home the dunk contest. But I saw some flash. I saw some video of Jalen Green on TNT, and the kid's got some hops.
Yeah,
he's flashy. Can jump through the roof. I mean, to me, outside of when Dwight Howard won it, it is a guards game. And I as much as I love to see big men win it, if I got to put money on it, I'm putting money on guards. So I'm gonna go. I would love to see Obi win, obviously, but I got to put smart money on Jalen Green.
Any surprises of people who you don't think, that are not in this contest that you think should be in this contest? I have one in mind.
Stepping in as props?
No, like instead of Toscano Anderson being there or Cole Anthony being there, who else would you think? Who else would you like to see compete in this dunk contest? I have one player in mind.
Give yours. Let me think on this.
I would love to see John Morant in the dunk contest because he catches some crazy end game dunks.
Okay. I know. Yeah.
What
okay.
You got?
So you're going little guy.
Little guy.
Guards. Yeah. Okay.
He has dynamite in his legs.
I know one who I've seen a lot of in my new quote unquote backyard, and is self-proclaimed the best dunker in the NBA by the um Homer play-by-play callers is Mikal Bridges on the Hornets.
I would love to see that too. I'm
He
surprised
played.
he's not here.
He was in it last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Last year, and that guy, that kid can really jump to the roof. So where's
No, he
Mikal
can't.
Bridges?
He should have came back, man.
Yeah, I hope he came back.
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges is a freak. But I like your pulling I mean, obviously he's starting in the All-Star game. He probably doesn't have any need to go play in a dunk contest, but I like your kind of thinking out of the box with a point guard.
Yeah. All right. So that I think that pretty sews up the dunk contest. Where you want to go next?
Let's go with the sharpshooters.
All right, fair enough.
So we've got the Ice Trae Young. We've got Luke Kennard, former Dookie, out in Clipperland. We've got, and this one is a bit of a surprise. It's a big man, Karl Anthony Towns, playing
Yeah.
in a 3-point contest. We've got someone we both love out in Memphis, Desmond Bane.
Yes.
We got the little sharpshooter himself that made his claim to fame out by the Alamo, now in Brooklyn. Patty Mills. A all-star himself this year. We've already spoken about the sharpshooter north of the border, Fred VanVleet. Another all-star reserve, Windy City, Zach LaVine. And CJ McCollum, the newly minted member of the New Orleans Pelicans. As we've already gone over at length, we will not bore you with any more of that nonsense. So what you got here from behind the arc?
I like all these selections.
Even Cat.
Cat's decent. He got to represent for the big guys, man. Somebody got to do it.
That's true.
Dang, this is tough.
Even he's got to be the new Dirk.
Yeah. I'm going Patty to win this.
Patty Mills, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what's funny? I feel like the hedge is gonna be on Trae or VanVleet. But how many times, Steph notwithstanding, how many times does the big kind of headline name going into this not win this tournament?
It happens a lot.
It happens a lot. I think Vegas. I think Vegas is reading those money lines and getting people to bet the favorite, and they throw in the underdog at the end. So I'm gonna go with, if it's not VanVleet, I think Trey's gonna come in and be all hyped up and probably have a good performance, but not good enough to advance. If it's not VanVleet, I'm gonna go with Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane is shooting 41% from three this year.
Yeah.
41%. I knew he was a shooter. We've talked about it before. I didn't know he was that good a shooter.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. Well, not that I didn't know. I didn't realize he was that good a shooter. So I'm going to go with Desmond Bane.
That's a good pick.
If it's not VanVleet, if VanVleet would not shock me whatsoever, because that kid barely freaking misses. But if it's not VanVleet, I think it'll be Desmond Bane. But I do like your Patty Mills pick. I do like your Patty Mills because that kid is sharpshooter. That kid.
Nah, he's definitely a sharpshooter. You know what? All right. So since we talked about people that you think would be in a dunk contest, how about for a 3-point contest? Because I have a person in mind.
Oh, as far as missing.
Missing, yeah.
Missing. If I'm gonna, oh gosh.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
You always be putting me on the spot, brother.
I'm sorry.
Let me gel. Who's yours? Who are you thinking?
I'm going with my boy, Carmelo Anthony.
Really?
On the Los Angeles Lakers. He's
Carmelo...
shooting 40 from three. How's he not here?
Really? Wow.
Trey Young shooting 37 from three. He's here. I
This
get it.
is
Like his name is Trey. They know him for shooting three, so he kind of has to be there. But does he have to be there?
yeah. I think here's some random one. There's a lot of random players this year in the shooting over 40%. Like Lonzo Ball. Why is Lonzo Ball shooting over 40%? Where does that come from?
Yeah.
Um,
What does he take one every 3 games?
yeah, Bobby Portis. What?
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe I'll pick because I'm looking at a lot of this. I'm thinking like some of these got to be anomalies. I mean, Mike Conley is 11, but Mike Conley is well known to be a high 3-point shooter. I'm going to pick somebody else on the Lakers. Malik Monk is shooting 40%.
Nice.
Now he's only hitting, that's 2 out of 5. Over 2 out of 5. A little over each. It's 2 out of 5, 3 to 6. Give a ballpark. But Malik Monk playing 27 minutes a game, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 6 is pretty good.
I think so.
That's pretty good. And the other one that pops out to me is a guy that I know you like from the defending champions, Pat Connaughton.
Yeah.
Why can't Pat Connaughton get into this game? This competition rather.
He was in it. I think he was in it last year, right? Yeah, he was in it last year.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Where are the repeats?
Did he win?
Where are the repeats?
Yeah, didn't he win? Who won the 3-point contest?
We're terrible analysts. I couldn't tell you.
Hold on, let me look at this.
Good. 3-point winner 2021. No, it was the chef.
Yeah, Steph won.
The chef. Was the chef. Aha! We're not terrible analysts after all.
Right.
But yeah, Malik Monk is a guy that's always been a good shooter, always been a reserve guy, and Pat Connaughton, he could pop out there and hit some. So, like, to me, the 3-point contest, it's fun when the Stephs play, the Dirks play, like the stars, right? Ray Allen way back in the day. But the 3-point contest to me, a lot of times has always been really cool when the kind of lesser known guys play. The guys who are just really sharp, it was like the Bruce Bowens, the Brent Berries, like, because those guys that can just step back there, just rip, just net,
The Peja Stojakovic.
Yeah, like that's their game. That is their game. I always thought that was cool when those guys got some love. Because the dunk contest but the dunk contest obviously in its heyday, Jordan winning, Carter winning, Kobe won.
Kobe did win the dunk contest.
Kobe did win, yes. Like the star power means a lot more in the dunk contest. In the 3-point contest, a lot of times you want to see the lesser known guys get some love a little bit.
Yeah.
So skills contest got a little bit of a different flavor this year.
I don't know what's going on with this contest.
I just found out about it tonight, actually. So you got team 1, which is Team Antetokounmpo. You have Giannis Antetokounmpo, Thanasis Antetokounmpo, and Alex Antetokounmpo. Alex, what? Giannis, Thanasis, and Alex. Anywho, so you got the 3 of them. You've got Team Cavs. Why Team Cavs? I don't know. But Team Cavs, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and Jared Allen. So a big man with some range, a big man that's a bruiser, and a flashy point guard who is an all-star this year, as we've discussed. And then you've got a team of rookies. You've got the number 1 pick, Cade Cunningham, someone that we love, Josh Giddey, and Scotty Barnes.
Yeah.
The incomparable Scotty Barnes. So what are you thinking here? You thinking this brotherly love team? You thinking this kind of weird mismatch from the same team or all young Bucks?
Dang.
None of which are Bucks, by the way.
Oh.
Bump.
Okay, I get it. They said that Alex Anta can I can't even say the last name that well.
I've
But
said it a
Alex is
lot.
he's supposed to be really good. No, you're really good at it. I'm going with the young guys, man. I love Josh Giddey. I think he's one of the most skilled players in the NBA. I'm surprised Evan Mobley's not with the younger guys, but he's on Team Cavs.
That's right.
I love,
Technically, there's 4 rookies in here.
yeah. I really like Cade Cunningham too. I think he could do a lot of different things on the court. And Scotty Barnes is a pretty dynamic player. But I think probably maybe the most skilled player on this whole thing might be Josh Giddey. The kid's amazing.
You might be right.
Yeah.
And not to be unoriginal, but I think I'm going to agree with you and take the rookies here.
Yeah, I'm going with the rookies.
That's yeah, that's a really good lineup. If you were to pick 3 players. All right, let me put you on the spot. If you were to pick 3 players in the league that all have something to do with each other, who cares what it is? Who would you take?
3 players that all have something to do with one another. And they have to be in the skills challenge.
Yes.
I
thought of 3 already.
All right, you go first. I'm still formulating.
Okay. So my theme is last year on our show, we discussed the top 25 list, all under 25.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't totally remember if all 3 of these players were on it, but I'm pretty sure they were. And they're probably not under 25 anymore. But one was Luka Doncic.
Mm-hmm.
One, John Morant. And one. Fuck, my brain just went blank. And one, DeJounte Murray.
Okay.
DeJounte Murray, of course, was left off.
Yes, he was.
We thought of that after the fact as far as people left off. But DeJounte Murray, Luka Doncic, and John Morant.
Like that.
All 20 top 25, under 25 from last year's selections.
Nice. All right, I got mine. Thank you. You inspired me.
A spark something?
You sparked something.
I sparked something.
So
I threw you the alley. You slammed the oop.
I hope this is a slam dunk. My 3 would be I would love to showcase bigs with skill. So I would trio 3 bigs that I think are very skillful in the league right now. Definitely got to throw Joker in there.
Mm-hmm.
Domantas Sabonis.
Oh, newly minted Sacramento King.
Yeah, new King. And I'm gonna go with Anthony Davis.
Oh, see, then you forget about him. I don't necessarily always think of Anthony Davis as a fully faceted big man, but it's also pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those would be my 3 guys. Okay. And I would, if they were in this competition, I would pick them to win.
AD, Sabonis, and Joker.
They all could shoot threes. They could shoot from anywhere on the floor. They all could pass. They all rebound. You know what I mean? They do everything on the floor. Yeah. They all can put the ball on the floor to some shape or form. So some better than others. AD is probably like the best ball handler out of all of them. But I think those 6. Yeah, I think those 3 are super skillful big men. Some of the most skilled players in NBA right now.
If we ever get famous and people start caring about us and letting us pick players, maybe we'll pick that one day. Hopefully they won't be retired by then.
Hey, NBA, if you're listening, don't steal our ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what we didn't do, bro? We didn't shout out the coaches. So not only does the NBA showcase their top players in this All-Star game, they also showcase the top shot callers, the coaches. And luckily, this season, this All-Star game, the two coaches that have been picked to coach the East and the West is Monty Williams from the Phoenix Suns. He's coaching the West team, and Eric Spoelstra from the Miami Heat coaching the East team. Partner, how do we feel about this? Do we think these are the right coaches for these teams? Or would you pick someone else? Or?
It's funny. I always wind up, I think it winds up being like whoever has the best record at a certain point before the All-Star break.
Yeah.
I kind of miss the days when it was just the finals coaches from the previous year.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, of course, half of that is already fulfilled because Monty Williams, of course, in the finals last year.
Yeah.
But I'm not upset by it. I'm a big fan of Monty Williams' story. Very, very inspiring, and also at the same time, he's an exceptional coach, and he coached a lot of real garbage teams before they got to Phoenix, and actually probably coached a couple of garbage teams in Phoenix before last year. So I'm always a big fan of seeing Monty Williams' success. Players love him. Good, seems like a good guy. Seems like a solid foundational base type of guy. And Eric Spoelstra has got to be, I think he took a lot of shit, for lack of a better word, from pundits, from the media, whatever the case may be, for the early Miami years. He got the job because he was D-Wade's guy. And that was kind of like D-Wade's payoff. Maybe that was D-Wade's payoff to kind of giving the reins to LeBron for LeBron to be the A-dog. And Spoelstra never got a lot of credit for making that work, for like doing the Joe Torre thing and pushing the right buttons at the right time. But in the years since, Miami never really was awful since then. Like even when they had no talent, they were still pretty average, like middle of the road kind of. They got into the playoffs a couple times with a lot less talent. And now they had, the bubble year, they made it to the finals. Last year they made it to the playoffs. They got shelled by Milwaukee, but they still made it. They were still a very good team last year. And this year, they've come on really strong. And with Bam coming back from injury, they've been really good. So Eric Spoelstra is just someone that knows how to build a team and coach basketball.
I agree.
And like I kind of compare him to Brad Stevens a little bit, like someone who just, I think Brad Stevens kind of got a little bit of a raw deal. Like he had a lot of top heavy, he had a lot of young talent, built them up to superstars, and when they got to superstars, there wasn't a lot else underneath them to kind of support those superstars and carry them to another level. But Spoelstra, he's like gotten superstars from really random places. Guys like Bam, who is a homegrown player. Guys like Jimmy Butler, who they picked off a roster somewhere because for some reason somebody didn't want him. Guys like Kyle Lowry, who was basically a salary dump. This year, obviously not in years past, but this year they got Kyle Lowry basically on a salary dump. So he's taken a lot of random pieces and put them together and made them work, no matter what. I mean, there were years where had a lot less than that. There were years where their best player was Goran Dragic. Nothing against Goran Dragic, very versatile point guard. But if he's your alpha dog,
you might be in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of that, if he's your alpha dog and you might be in trouble and you're still freaking good, that must be something really good about the coach.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, Eric Spoelstra, again, he's someone that was just kind of like a kind of, not necessarily a laughing stock, but kind of like an oh, by the way coach, because he was D-Wade's boy and they had the big three or whatever. He actually there was a lot of credit that he should have gotten for those teams that he didn't get.
Yeah. I agree.
And he's done a lot since then too to kind of bolster his claim of being an elite coach.
Yeah. I think they did right with these two picks. I mean, I have some unpopular opinion picks that if they didn't pick these guys, I would like to see these other two coaches coach. From the West, I would have Taylor Jenkins, the coach of the the Memphis Grizzlies. I think he's done a phenomenal job over there with those guys. Even when they they dealt with some injury. Dylan Brooks has not been playing that much this season. Ja had went out for a couple of weeks with a knee issue. He's back now, but they still held the ship down, and they're sporting a number 3 record in the West. I think that's pretty impressive. And also for the East, my coach would be JB Bickerstaff, the coach of the Cavs. He's doing a phenomenal job, an unconventional job, because the way that their lineup is constructed is weird. Like no other team is running the lineup running their offense and defense how they're running their offense and defense. So it's funny that they have a team Cavs in the skills challenge because it makes sense. You know what I mean? You have to have a lot of skilled players in order to make that work. And JB is max. Yeah, JB's maximizing that. So those 2 guys, if Spo and I always forget the second guy, Spo and
Monty Williams.
Sorry, Spo and Monty Williams weren't the coaches of this year's All-Star game. I think those 2 dudes would be just fine.
I think I love the Taylor Jenkins pick. Certainly deserves to be there if it was going to be Monty. But the other one I'll throw on there is Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
Dallas was not very good earlier in this year.
No, they was not.
They were struggling. And now they're top 5. I don't think they'll do very well against Utah in the playoffs, but we're still a long ways off from there. And he's really gotten them back to playing what they should be. Porzingis actually looks like a half decent player again. Brunson's balling the F out.
Oh, yeah.
And Luka needs no further comment. So, and honestly, there's not really a lot else there, and it's still working.
Yeah.
It's working.
It's working.
So if it's not going to be Monty, and if I just kind of like pick someone else that you didn't pick, I love the Taylor Jenkins pick, but I would say Jason Kidd out of the West.
Like that.
And then the East, if it wasn't going to be Spo, and I love Spo, one pick, of course, is Billy Donovan.
Yes.
I think people expected Chicago to be pretty good.
Decent. Yeah, decent.
Pretty good. But to be contended for number 1 seed, I don't know if that good. And then the other option is a guy that won a championship not too long ago, and that's Nick Nurse.
Yep.
Because Toronto, we talked about it at the end of last year. Toronto always seems to figure it out somehow. But they sold off a lot of talent. Outside of Siakam, they sold off a lot of their players. And they're still in it. They're top 6 right now. They're out of that play-in tournament. And I've watched a few Raptors games lately, and they're pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good team. Scotty Barnes has a little bit of maturing to do.
But they'll be fine.
Yeah, he made a couple. I've seen him make a couple dumb decisions lately, but other than that, he's pretty good.
Nah, he's a good guy right there. But yeah, perfect, gang. Thanks for kicking it with us. We got to go pay some bills, but when we come back, we got something real nice plan for you guys. So keep it locked. Hoops Boys Pod.
Welcome back to the Hoops Boys Pod, your main man, Jen CProc, keeping it up to date on all the latest action and information around the association. That was a lot of yawns. The NBA, my friend, recently released the top 15 list of the greatest coaches of all time. And of course, they have to fugazi their way out of actually ranking them. They just give a list in alphabetical order. We need stuff to talk about, NBA. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of this. But anyway, here's the list in no particular, in alphabetical order. Red Auerbach, don't think anyone's gonna argue with that. Boston Celtics coach during the Bill Russell years.
Yes, sir.
Larry Brown, phenomenal coach. Never really had a home, I don't think. If I think back to like all the different places he coached practically everywhere in the league. But he did get his championship way at the end there.
He did.
The late great Chuck Daly, the leader of the Bad Boy Pistons, got a couple rings.
Rest in peace, Chuck.
Someone near and dear to our hearts, although he was coaching long before either of us were in existence. Red Holzman,
Right.
Red Holzman, couple rings with the New York Knickerbockers. Of course, can't mention great coaches without mentioning Phil Jackson, although he did not do two great things as a coach executive for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Player, yes, sure, but not as a not as someone actually having power. The recent late great Casey Jones.
Rest in peace, Casey.
Boston Celtics great in the 80s during the Bird years. Steve Kerr, very recent addition with it based on his success with the Golden State Warriors. Don Nelson, longtime great coach. Of course, Greg Popovich. Can't have
Don Nelson is the NBA's most winningest coach.
He is only by a few, actually. He barely beat that record, but he did beat it.
Yeah.
Greg Popovich, of course, can't have a discussion of great coaches without Pop.
That's the GOAT.
Jack Ramsey, great coach out on the West Coast, a lot of years in Portland. Coached that Bill Russell team to a championship. Pat Riley, of course. Hard to have this discussion of great coach without Riles. Doc Rivers, bit of a recent addition, and we'll go into his numbers in a second, but you might scratch your head at first right now. Jerry Sloan, another late great, RIP.
The late great Jerry Sloan.
Jerry Sloan, and another very recent addition, Eric Spoelstra, which just talked about.
Spo.
And then of course the prior to Don Nelson breaking the record, the prior all-time winningest NBA coach, Lenny Wilkins.
Yes.
Now, where do we break this down? First of all, I should note that Greg Popovich, assuming this statistical list that I'm looking at is currently up to date, will break the all-time record before the season's out.
I think he's going to grab that and then he's going to go off into greener pastures because there's nothing left for him to do.
There's nothing left.
Yeah.
So we should note that Greg Popovich will be the all-time leader in coaching wins by the time this is over. By the time the season's over. I don't think we're going to dispute Red Auerbach. I don't think we're going to dispute Chuck Daly. I don't think we'll dispute Red Holzman, although I will use him as a argument later on.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to dispute Phil Jackson. Don Nelson is safe. Jack Ramsey is safe. Pat Riley is safe. Jerry Sloan is safe. And Lenny Wilkins is, of course, very safe. So, where do we want to unbox this? Do we want to unbox Larry Brown?
That's fair.
Larry Brown has just under 1,100 wins. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Brown has a championship with the Detroit Pistons of the mid-2000s, the Ben Wallace team. But Larry Brown, very much like Doc Rivers, also won championship, also over 1,000 wins. They don't really have, neither one of them really have an identity to one particular team.
That's true.
You think of Larry Brown and the Sixers, you think of Larry Brown with the Pistons, you think of Larry Brown in a lot of different places. Doc Rivers, you think of him with the Magic when he had Jason Grady. You think of him in Boston when he won the championship with the Big Three. He went to the Clippers. He went to Philly. So like these two guys, they've got a lot of wins. They've got some hardware on their fingers, but they don't really have an identity as a head coach. So it's kind of, you scratch your head a little bit, I think. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think on Larry Brown and Doc Rivers?
Larry Brown also has a college chip as well. He's one of the few coaches
That's
that has
true.
both.
That is true.
Um, Doc Rivers, I feel like everywhere he has gone, he's elevated to a certain extent. Maybe not like every team he's gone to, they've been to the finals, but he definitely makes them better. The jury's still out, man. I at least on Doc Rivers. I think Larry Brown pretty much cemented his legacy as one of the. If he's not a top 15 coach, he could be a top 20 coach. If you want to like revolving door somebody in and out, but
Yeah, really split hairs.
yeah, I think Larry's pretty good. I think for Doc, like Doc got a lot of good things going for him. He has a winning record. He has a championship. He had some pretty successful teams in the past decade, including the one that he's like coaching now. So, um, if people feel like Doc doesn't deserve it just yet, I think he's like teetering the line. You know what I mean?
And I think that ship sets him apart in a couple contemporary instances. Because the two coaches above him in total wins that are not on this list already are George Karl and Rick Edelman.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, obviously, neither one of them has a ring. Rick Edelman. No, I'm sorry. Rick Edelman did go to the finals twice, actually, with Portland. And George Karl, of course, went to the finals with the Seattle Supersonics.
Yes.
So they both got to the cusp of the promised land. They both have more wins. Obviously, Doc will likely pass at least one of them, if not both, by the time he's ready to hang up the whistle. But I mean, to me, I look at that list and I'm thinking, well, Doc obviously made it over both of them because of his ring. However, there's a third person. There's someone right behind Doc Rivers who also has only one ring, who also RIP, recent nearly dearly departed, is Bill Fitch. Bill Fitch got the first championship for the Larry Bird Celtics. Casey Jones finished it off, of course, getting those other two. But Bill Fitch got the first one. And now what separates Bill Fitch from Doc Rivers? Doc Rivers has more wins, but Doc Rivers is also still coaching.
Right.
And they both have rings with the Celtics, oddly enough. But I mean, why Doc Rivers over Bill Fitch?
I don't know. I feel like maybe to balance out the list with coaches that maybe the more casual NBA fan may know versus somebody that's like an NBA historian, because a lot of people might not know who Bill Fitch is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Although he's a great NBA coach, but
I mean, should that be a reason to leaving someone off just because more contemporary fans don't know? Because I can almost guarantee even people in New York, let alone people outside of New York, don't know who Red Holzman is.
No,
and
for sure.
Red Holzman doesn't even have 700 wins.
Right. For sure. And I definitely think it's like more popularity than actual coaching acumen, because like you said, they kind of match up well. They both have rings, they both have buttload of wins, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess that the edge is to Doc because people know who Doc is.
Yeah. That's a hard hair to split. Now, leaving Doc aside, leaving Doc aside, leaving Larry Brown aside, you have Bill Fitch, as we've spoken about, left out. We have George Karl, as we've spoken about, left out. We have Rick Adelman, as we spoke about, being left out. Not even mentioned here, of course, is Billy Cunningham, who is obviously not in the list of all-time wins. But Billy Cunningham is very well known for coaching that Philadelphia 76ers Moses Malone championship team back in the 80s. And there's some names on here that are Even Rick Carlisle, contemporary coach with the championship, 855 wins and counting, and not in the list or not
I don't
being
know what's
mentioned at all.
yeah,
Nate McMillan, surprisingly enough, almost 700 wins, not
yeah,
left
not
off
mentioned.
too. But people like Steve Kerr with 3 rings, people with like Eric Spoelstra with 2 rings, and a few more finals appearances. Well, really for each one of them. They're both on the list. Is this a little too much praise too early? Like, yeah, they're both great coaches. Yeah, they have a really impressive resume, especially for such an early point in their coaching careers. But are we jumping the gun a little bit, putting them in the same breath as Pop, as Pat Riley, as Casey Jones, as Phil, as Lenny Wilkins, as Don Nelson, Jack Ramsey? Are we jumping the gun a little bit too much on Steve Kerr and
And
Eric Spoelstra?
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, despite, yeah, I would agree. I agree with it. Despite
I
the
think so.
records, very impressive records. But I mean, I think that's like this rare. This is a rarefied air. Pat freaking
Yeah,
Riley.
yeah,
Pat Riley hired Eric Spoelstra, for crying out loud.
yeah. What are we really talking about?
Yeah, I mean,
this is this is nutty, bro. Like, I mean, it's no doubt in my mind when it's all like said and done. When they're of the age of Greg Popovich and all of that, they're definitely going to be up there as some of the greatest coaches the NBA has ever seen. Spo and Steve Kerr. More so Spo because we've seen him in both instances where he had a monster team with LeBron, Chris Bosh, and D Wade, to an era where he didn't have that talent, and he still doesn't have the talent that he had then, but he's still making it work. They're still number 1 in the East, and that says something about your coaching. You know what I mean? For Steve Kerr, it's been really. He had a couple down years because people were injured, but other than that, like, he inherited the Splash Brothers with Draymond Green, and then got KD right after that.
just
You know what I'm
walking
saying?
through the door. Didn't have to give up anything for that.
Yeah. So like, we haven't seen Steve Kerr in an instance where he has been devoid of talent or only had one guy, you know what I mean, and still make it work. We haven't seen that yet. So I would slightly give the edge to Spo because of that. But because what would Spo do with that Warriors team? You know what I mean?
Probably not lose a finals game.
Yeah. So like,
or a final series, I should say, rather.
yeah.
Oh,
I think Spo is definitely like he's of this ilk for sure.
Now, would you peg them down out of the list for now, February 2022? Would you peg both of them down out of this list for the moment for the likes of George Karl, Rick Adelman, Bill Fitch, etc., even Rick Carlisle?
Yeah. Like, I respect George Karl as a coach and everything he's done in the NBA, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird discussion because it's like the NBA is trying to get out in front of the ball before it's thrown.
Yeah. Like George Karl's like last hurrah in the NBA when he was coaching that Denver team, and he had all that talent when they traded Carmelo Anthony for 2 whole teams.
And that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah, from now, like, Carl Anthony's 37 years old. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's been a while. So I don't know. I really like Spoto. I think he belongs up here. Steve Kerr, jury's out on him because I feel like any coach coaching Steph, Clay, Draymond Green, and Kevin, we could have went out there and coached that team and won a championship.
Right.
So like, and also, not for nothing, for sure, shout out to Steve Kerr. Respect everything you've done in the NBA as a player and coach. But right before he got there, that team had a pretty good coach, and they were balling before he got there. Then he came in and they won a chip the year after, and it made it seem like he made some big switch that changed everything. He kind of did. He removed the bigs out of the lineup and played Draymond, and Draymond just guard everybody. You know what I mean? And
I was just gonna say, really, the only thing he did different from Mark Jackson was having faith in playing Draymond.
Yeah. So,
that was a great decision.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. And Mark Jackson is probably kicking himself for not realizing what he could have done. But at the same time, like you were really gift wrapped this team.
Nah, he was, and it's crazy, man. Like that's to me, like if I had to edge somebody off, although he has 3 rings and all the rings that he has as a player, I think Steve Kerr would have to be the one to come off this list.
Yeah. And it's like the argument people always use against Phil. Like, yeah, Phil's got 9 rings, but he's coached Jordan. He's coached Scottie Pippen. He's coached Kobe. He's coached Shaq. Like let's see Phil coach some real garbage teams, and what can he do with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, eventually you get to the point where it's like, okay, 9 rings is 9 rings.
Nah, absolutely.
But okay, so maybe Steve Kerr's got to be on a similar track. Maybe Steve Kerr's got to have like 6, 7, 8 rings, and they were like, all right, well, yeah, sure, we can question it, but it's still 6, 7, 8, 9 rings.
I think you get 6, 7, 8, 9 rings. You did what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
and if you didn't get those rings with those with that talent, it says everything about you as a coach.
Right.
You're not as good as the people think you are. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So
you're coaching all the talent. You're coaching all the talent. You're never going to miss the playoffs.
Right. we done seen coaches do more with less. So you have 4 of the top 10 players on one team, 4 of the top 20 players on one basketball team. You better be making some noise.
Yes, sir.
So, but yeah, this is great, man. I really like this list. I think like you said, if they would have ranked it from 1 to 15, it would have definitely sparked more conversation. But this is more to talk about. Yeah, for sure. But another thing I want to talk about is something that we spoke about in previous shows. That kind of switched, did a little switcheroo on us. We kind of dogging on the Celtics for being trash.
I was.
And and they kind of flipped the script. How do you feel about that?
They just, I mean, I was certainly, my feelings on Tatum were certainly nothing that was held secret as far as they, he's putting up phenomenal numbers, but he's not improving his team. He's not having an instant impact. He's not having the superstar impact that he should have and elevating them to another level. And here they are, winning 8 of their last 9 games, just beating Brooklyn, spanking Brooklyn. Granted, nobody played in that game. Durant's, of course, been hurt. Harden sat out tonight. Kyrie can't play any home games. So they certainly didn't exactly beat the Brooklyn Nets, as we know. But regardless, won 8 of the last 9 games, and they are firmly square in that top play-in spot and probably threatening Philadelphia to get into the top 6. These Boston Celtics just came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
maybe Tatum deserved to be an all-star and an all-star starter at that. I don't know.
Maybe he saw.
Maybe he's listening to the Hoops Boys podcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was like, "Oh, they talking crap about me. All right, watch this." And you mentioned the other team that I was kind of like really high on, and it seemed like everything's just going wrong for them. The Brooklyn Nets. KD's hurt. He's probably out into the playoffs. James Harden is kind of in limbo right now. He's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We'll see after the trade deadline. And Kyrie can't play any home games. So on any given night, like this team could be super, like have some of the most talented players on the floor all at once, which hasn't happened a lot since they've been together.
Nope.
Or they can be a G League team, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like tonight when they played against the Celtics and none of their star players played. I'm looking at the highlights right now, like the full game highlights. The thumbnail has Jalen Green on it, and I don't even know who this is.
Jaylen Brown.
I mean, yeah, sorry, Jaylen Brown. I said Jalen Green. Jaylen Brown and yeah, and some random player on the Brooklyn Nets is standing next to him like as if it was KD or Kyrie or James Harden, and they got blown out tonight. And I feel like that's been happening a lot.
9 in a row.
Yeah. They were like in first place the last time we spoke about them, and now they're in 7th place. That's how bad it's been.
Yeah.
I don't know. We all think, you know, even all like the professional NBA analysts, they all think like once playoff times come, if they put themselves in a decent position, they're gonna be able to turn it on like this. And yeah, we should think that they have 3 of the most talented players in the NBA all on one team, but they haven't played together.
And to that point, look what happened with the Lakers last year.
Yeah.
With that, okay, we just get to the playoffs, we could turn it on. Well, did the Lakers turn it on last year?
No. They never, and it seems like they never recovered from last year. You know what I mean? Even now, like they still feel like they're like stumbling in the dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, like I don't think that's a guarantee to say the Nets are going to recover. They gotta get these guys back. I mean, the Kyrie thing, they can't control. But I mean, they certainly at least need Harden. And I mean, I've heard rumors that they're going to trade him. Like, well, you trade him. You might as well just give him on the playoffs. If you trade him, you can't play hard. You can't play Kyrie in most of your games. And if you're not going to have Durant back into the playoffs, you might as well just shut him down. Get a draft pick.
Yeah.
At that point.
That's the thing though. Like James Harden, this is like the end of his contract. So if they don't trade him and he decides like, hey, I don't want to be here anymore, they're gonna lose James Harden for nothing.
And they gave up, and they gave up a lot of players to get him.
They gave up
Jared Allen, they gave up LeVert, like a lot of players that not only were good players, but the Nets fans loved.
Yeah. And now it's like the Nets could be in real big trouble if James Harden decides to do something else, because KD, like once KD and Kyrie are out of there, the Nets are going to be trash for a long time.
Oh yeah, y'all thought it was bad when they traded all their future for the aging Celtic stars.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really barren. It's going to be a wasteland over there. But for right now, they still have some talent. You know, this is what, year 3 of this experiment, and they still haven't only played like 17 games together, which is ridiculous.
Technically year 3. I mean, Durant, that first year of Durant's contract didn't really count, I don't think. But
yeah,
technically, yes, it's year 3.
Yeah, that's fair. And now we're like at the tail end of this experiment, and who knows like what's gonna happen. They could just blow this whole thing, not blow it up, but like James Harden leaves, now you have KD there by himself with Kyrie, who can't play any home games. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
You know what the silver lining is?
What's that?
Still a Knicks town.
Still a Knicks town. and no matter how hard the Nets try to make these home run swings that win in the championship, it seems to always backfire in their face. So I'm thinking this is more the same, you know?
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Knicks tape
always, man. See, this is Knicks blue back here. Make sure of that. But hey guys, thanks for kicking it with us. This is the end of our All-Star show. If you want to kick it with us until next show, hit us up on our socials at Hoops Boys Pod on both Insta and Twitter. Let's talk about what happens this All-Star game. Let's get some predictions. Who you think is going to win the 3-point contest or dunk contest? But until then, keep it locked. Shout out to my co-host CProc. Jet. Till next time, Hoops Boys Pod.
Kobe.
Peace. Kobe.